Check it out. Check it out. We're running a live when we still got light out. How do you guys feel about that? Huh? What up? What up? What it do boo boo? What it do boo boo? Welcome. This is gonna be short and sweet because I got dinner and Game of Thrones to watch, as per usual. Thank you guys for checking in. Welcome to Readings by Candlelight by your host, Keith, your man of letters, here to bring you knowledge, information, and a bit of entertainment and some homemade cookies. What up? If you're new, thank you for considering to subscribe to the channel. This is a fun one. This is Kybalion. This is Vibration, which is one of the funnest ones. If you're not familiar, this is my book, 7 Pillars, based on the Kybalion, but modernized, and the law of vibration is by far the longest chapter in my book because it had a lot to say about it. So that being said, how you guys doing? $7:34. 7:45, we're going to start the live. If you're not watching this live, I usually give people a couple minutes to get into the room, so bear with us. Fast forward to 10 minutes, or just sit here and kick it and BS with us. I was just going to have cookies and milk, and then the homie brought me a beer. So I guess we're having cookies, milk, and a beer. Pulling up your guys' comments. If you see me looking down at my phone at any point, it's because I'm looking at your guys' comments. It's the only way I can kind of see what you guys are saying. Because, looking down at my phone wow. At any point. Tango, where were you? We missed you at work today, man. Too sweet, you're going to Puerto Rico? Oh man, these cookies are bomb as hell. Lower Klinger. Hello. Nice to have you here. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing good too. Thanks for being here. I'm putting some tunes on in the background, my bad. Damn. Come on, you son of a bitch. Damn. How you guys doing? 7:37. We got a couple minutes to spare. Oh, Laura. I do love me some music as well. Damn, you flat trimmed 35 windows a day? So Lobby Studio, check it out. We're on live, and there's still light coming into the room. Watch. What you think? Kind of cool, right? Yeah, we all have our ups and downs. That would be the law of rhythm. A swing, a to and fro, a here and there. Bum bum bum. Oh damn! I think I can hear Atlas crying downstairs. Poor little guy. I know. That's right. You live West Coast head. How many of you guys are on the West Coast? Where are you guys from, by the way? You guys from the West Coast? You guys from the East Coast? Central? Where are you hailing from? $7:40. We got 5 minutes, you guys. Just enough time to pull us a card. I'm gonna pull a card. I'm gonna pull a card for the sash. I'm gonna pull a card for the sash. South Carolina. Self-elevation. What up, brother? Nice to see you here. Self-elevation. Everyone say what up to self-elevation. He's been holding it down for a while now. I was glad to see your face, Mango. South Carolina, what up? My baby's back. Yeah, he's back. Baby's back. Maybe I'll give him a little cameo. Damn, that candle is bright as hell. We can just do one for now. It's enough light. Very North Washington on the Pacific, Puget Sound. My buddy is going to be. He lives in Bothell or something like that, outside of Seattle, and he's going to be collecting a ton of Devil's Club root for me. Devil's Club root bark, so that I could send it to my guy in Colorado to be processed in the alchemical spagyric form, so that I could get a good grounding, heavy hitting spiritual herb protecting from Devil's Club. I mean, it's called Devil's Club, for crying out loud. So I'm super stoked on that, but I've had to wait for the season to come. So maybe you guys can link up and collect some Devil's Club in the forest. But no, it's gonna be fun. Oh damn! I tried to pull a card for this reading session, and it's the Tower reversed. $50 from Bothell. Nice. I'll send him your IG, Slavi. DM me and remind me, so that when I get off, you're in my DMs, and then I'll hit him up. Refa Sunshine. What's a reverse tower card? Because that sounds ominous as hell, right? Easter, we ate lots of candy. What up? What we got? 14. 16. Harshness, misery, distress, adversity, and crisis. Nice. So we got a reverse tower so far. Okay. What time is it? Ooh, 1 minute left. We're going to kick this off pretty soon, you guys. We're going to kick this off pretty soon. Gina Young, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being here. Someone is going to have some issues with the information. If I had a nickel, I would have about 45 cents because I don't get that many issues too often. And then the other reverse, Knight of Wands. Someone help me out with Knight of Wands. And third, just to keep it fresh, are these all reverse? No, hardly any of them are reverse. Just the ones I'm grabbing happen to be reverse. Death. Ooh, what a nice, spooky ass spread. All reverse cards. First is the Tower, second is the Knight of Wands, and the third is Death. So, by the sounds of it, Death is going to come kick it with us and go over the law of vibration while the house burns down. Hopefully, one of these candles don't catch on fire. Catrell Grinnell, if I pronounced that right. What up? Sounds like a character from Game of Thrones. Dum dum. Okay, we're about to crank this one out. What the hell? I'm taking a quick picture real quick. Cool. And let's see, vibration is actually relatively short, though, as far as this chapter goes, which is good because I don't have much time with you guys tonight. I'll turn the volume up so you can hear me a little better. Is there music with this? Sorry, guys, that music wasn't doing it for me, so we're not starting anymore. But the chapter is short, so if you guys are just checking in and you're new, sometimes we just fucking take forever to start. Bear with us. Just bear with us, like a grizzly bear kind of bear. Computer is just absolutely shitting itself at the moment. Okay. No, not Nine of Wands. Knight of Wands was reversed. How was your S-Tar? What up? Okay. All right, you filthy animals, let us begin. We've got our spooky ass, ominous deck of cards out here in front of us. Okay, well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Man of Letters for the readings by candlelight. I'm your host, Keith, your Man of Letters, here to bring you knowledge, information, and a bit of entertainment. Tonight we are reading the Kybalion, written by 3 initiates, 1911. What chapter are we on? Chapter 9. The Law of Vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. With this card spread, I feel like Voldemort's about to just fucking pop out and start abracadabering green sparks all over the room and shit. The great, well, the great third Hermetic principle. The principle of vibration embodies the truth that motion is manifest in everything in the universe, that nothing is at rest, that everything moves, vibrates, and circles. This Hermetic principle was recognized by some of the early Greek philosophers who embodied it in their system. But then, for centuries, it was lost sight of by the thinkers outside of the Hermetic ranks. But in the 19th century, physical science rediscovered the truth, and the 20th century scientific discoveries have added additional proof of the correctness and truth of this centuries-old Hermetic doctrine. The Hermetic teachings are that not only is everything in constant movement and vibration, but that the differences between the various manifestations of the universal power are due entirely to the varying rate and mode of vibrations. Not only this, but that even the all itself manifests a constant vibration of such an infinite degree of intensity and rapid motion that it may be practically considered as at rest. The teachers directing the attention of the students to the fact that even on the physical plane, a rapidly moving object, such as a revolving wheel, seems to be at rest. The teachings are to the effect that spirit is at one end of the pole of vibration, the other pole being certain extremely gross forms of matter. Between these two poles are millions upon millions of different rates and modes of vibration. Modern science has proven that all that we call matter and energy are but modes of vibration, modes of vibratory motion. And some of the positions of the occultists who hold that the phenomena of mind are likewise modes of vibration and motion. Let us see what science has to say regarding the question of vibrations in matter and energy. In the first place, science teaches that all matter manifests in some degree. The vibrations arising from temperature or heat, be an object cold or hot, both being but degrees of the same things. It manifests certain heat vibrations, and that sense is in motion and vibration. Then all particles of matter are in circular movement from corpuscle to suns. The planets revolve around suns, and many of them turn on their axes. The suns move around greater central points, and these are believed to move around still greater, and so on ad infinitum. The molecules of which the particular kinds of matter are composed are in a state of constant vibration and movement around each other and against each other. The molecules are composed of atoms, which likewise are in a state of constant movement and vibration. The atoms are composed of corpuscles, sometimes called electrons, ions, etc., which are also in a state of rapid motion, revolving around each other, and which manifest a very rapid state and mode of vibration. And so we see that all forms of matter manifest vibration in accordance with the Hermetic principle of vibration. And so it is with the various forms of energy. Science teaches that light, heat, magnetism, and electricity are but forms of vibratory motion connected in the same way with and probably emanating from the ether. Science does not as yet attempt to explain the nature of the phenomena known as cohesion, which is the principle of molecular attraction, nor chemical affinity, which is the principle of atomic attraction, nor gravitation, the greatest mystery of the three, which is the principle of attraction by which every particle or mass of matter is bound to every other particle or mass. These three forms of energy are not as yet understood by science, yet the writers incline to opinion that these two are manifestations of some form of vibratory energy, a fact which the Hermeticists have held and taught for ages past. The universal ether, which is postulated by science without its nature being understood clearly, is held by the Hermeticists to be but a higher manifestation of that which is erroneously called matter. That is to say, matter at a higher degree of vibration, and is called by them the ethereal substance. The Hermeticists teach that this ethereal substance is of extreme tenuity and elasticity and pervades universal space, serving as a medium of transmission of waves of vibratory energy, such as heat, light, electricity, magnetism, etc. The teachings are that the ethereal substance is a connecting link between the forms of vibratory energy known as matter, on the one hand, and energy or force, on the other. And also that it manifests a degree of vibration in rate and mode entirely its own. Scientists have offered the illustration of a rapidly moving wheel, top, or cylinder to show the effects of increasing rates of vibration. The illustration supposes a wheel, top, or revolving cylinder running at a low rate of speed. We will call this revolving thing the object in following out the illustration. Let us suppose the object moving slowly. It may be seen readily, but no sound of its movement reaches the ear. The speed is gradually increased. In a few moments, its movement becomes so rapid that a deep growl or a low note may be heard. Then, as the rate is increased, the note rises one in the musical scale. Then, the motion being still further increased, the next highest note is distinguished. Then, one after another, all the notes of the musical scale appear, rising higher and higher as the motion is increased. Finally, when the motions have reached a certain rate, the final note perceptible to human ears is reached, and the shrill, piercing shriek dies away, and silence follows. No sound is heard from the revolving object, the rate of motion being so high that the human ear cannot register the vibrations. Then comes the perception of rising degrees of heat. Then, after quite a time, the eye catches a glimpse of the object becoming a dull, dark reddish color. As the rate increases, the red becomes brighter. Then, as the speed increases, the red melts into an orange. The orange melts into a yellow. Then follow successively the shades of green, blue, indigo, and finally violet. Then the violet shades away and all color disappears, the human eye not being able to register them. But there are invisible rays emanating from the revolving object, the rays that are used in photographing and other subtle rays of light. Then begin to manifest the peculiar rays known as the X-rays, etc. As the constitution of the object changes, electricity and magnetism are emitted when the appropriate rate of vibration is attained. When the object reaches a certain rate of vibration, its molecules disintegrate and resolve themselves into the original elements or atoms. Then the atoms, following the principle of vibration, are separated into the countless corpuscles of which they are composed. And finally, even the corpuscles disappear, and the object may be said to be composed of the ethereal substance. Science does not dare to follow the illustration further. But the Hermeticists teach that if the vibration be continually increased, the object would mount up the successive states of manifestation and would in turn manifest the various mental stages, and then on spiritward, until it would finally re-enter the all, which is absolute spirit. The object, however, would have ceased to be an object long before the stage of ethereal substance was reached, but otherwise the illustration is correct, inasmuch as it shows the effect of constantly increased rates and modes of vibration. It must be remembered in the above illustration that at the stages at which the object throws off vibrations of light or heat, etc., it is not actually resolved into these forms of energy, which are much higher in the scale, but simply that it reaches a degree of vibration in which those forms of energy are liberated in a degree from the confining influences of its molecules, atoms, and corpuscles, as the case may be. These forms of energy, although much higher in the scale than matter, are imprisoned and confined in the material combinations by reason of the energies manifesting through and using material forms, but thus becoming entangled and confined in their creations of material forms, which to an extent is true of all creations, the creating force becoming involved in its creation. There was something that I kind of overlooked the last time I looked into this, and that the light we are seeing being emanated from something are the thing itself, and the molecules, the matter, the physical substance seems to be that body which possesses the light, possesses the lighter body, the same way your body kind of possesses your soul and your spirit and your mind. And that raising the vibration of something tends to spew out that energy. Like when you raise heat, for example, and it glows brighter the hotter it gets, the more energy becomes emitted from it, the higher you raise the frequency, or in that case, the temperature. Do with that knowledge as you will, whatever that means. Give me one second. Hi, Salavi Studio, sending you all the love. I'm sorry to hear that. Sending all the love. Hope the best for your fam. Rocio, Vicky, how you guys doing? Hello, Jennifer. Chakras and chasers. Hello, you guys. Just making sure you didn't have any pressing questions before we continued, because we only have a couple of paragraphs left. Okay, talking about energy being involved in its creations. But the Hermetic teachings go much further than do those of modern science. They tell that all manifestation of thought, emotion, reason, will, or desire, or any mental state or condition are accompanied by vibrations, a portion of which are thrown off and which tend to affect the minds of other persons by induction. This is the principle which produces the phenomena of telepathy, mental influence, and other forms of the action and power of mind over mind, with which the general public is rapidly becoming acquainted. owing to the wide dissemination of occult knowledge by the various schools, cults, and teachers along these lines at this time. Every thought, emotion, or mental state has its corresponding rate and mode of vibration. Now, this is the nitty gritty. So far, we've been laying a lot of foundation. I go ham with the law of vibration in my book. I talk about all kinds of cool shit, how it can be applied. This is one of the most important. This is one of the most important, in that everything has a rate of vibration, including your thoughts. Well, I mean, at the time, he's saying that scientists don't go as far as to say that mental. Where's everyone? Where are we at? So he says Hermetic teachings go further than those of modern science, because at the time, modern science didn't want to say things like thoughts have vibrations, but now we hook your brain up to a fucking electrospectral or hippopotograph, whatever the hell those things are called, and they can see that each thought has a different rate of vibration. So interesting. Fucking hermeticists are always ahead of science. Not always, but most of the time are ahead of science. And this is what's important. Thoughts are different rates of vibration that are along the same linear line, starting from lower vibration, lower frequencies, and going into the higher frequencies. So the idea is to not, for me, what makes sense is to see things as a slide up the scale. So if we combine vibration with, say, polarity, so polarity says opposites are the same, and this is a good way of demonstrating how opposites are the same. So you say courage and fear, seemingly two opposing things, but they're not opposing things. They are the same thing to varying degree. Fear is on one side of the scale and courage is on the other. So all it's doing is a slide, right? Just a raising of frequency, which shifts fear to courage. And so eventually you get to courage. Say you're afraid to go on roller coasters, right? So the courageous thing to do would be to go on the roller coaster. But now once you've accomplished that and you're not afraid of going on roller coasters anymore, it's no longer courageous of you to go on roller coasters, right? So you can only be courageous when fear is present. See how they're always tied together? You cannot have courage without fear, literally. Otherwise, doing something wouldn't mean anything. It's not courageous of me for me to go on a roller coaster because I love roller coasters. It's not courageous of me to go skydiving because I love shit like that. So this is where we kind of have to check ourselves on how we see ourselves and how we see the people and how we see the world and how we label ourselves and people in the world. Giving praise where praise is due and not giving praise where praise isn't due. Tangenting. I'm tangenting right now. We're just going to continue. We're just going to keep going. Okay. Every thought, emotion, or mental state has its corresponding rate and mode of vibration, and by an effort of the will of the person or of any other persons, these mental states may be reproduced just as a musical tone may be reproduced by causing an instrument to vibrate at a certain rate. Just as color may be reproduced in the same way. By a knowledge of the principle of vibration as applied to mental phenomena, one may polarize his or her mind at any degree he wishes, thus gaining a perfect control over his or her mental states, moods, etc. In the same way, he may affect the minds of others, producing the desired mental states in them. This is where strong wills dominate weaker wills all the time. Because your willpower is your thought power, your mental power. And if you have a strong will and you're broadcasting that frequency and it's slamming up against someone with a weaker will, you will win. And the video that I just put out where I was having a critique of how feminine dominated the spiritual world at least to me tends to be a lot of emphasis on feminine, not so much on masculine. This is what happens. Your willpower, your dominating will, polarizing yourself to one single point is a very masculine trait. It's a very, very masculine trait. Singular, it's focused, it's unmoving, it's rigid, right? Your willpower is saying, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't give a fuck how tired I am, how hungry I am. If I had a bad dream, I don't care what happens. I'm making a decision and I'm sticking to it. And I'm going to do it. That's your will. That's very masculine. That type of mind power dominates weaker minds. And so where my critique was coming from and being bombarded with a lot of feminine and a lot of passiveness and a lot of receiving and a lot of openness is I found myself having my mind and my thoughts being dominated by other people, right? Because I was never projecting my own thoughts. I was just receiving, never projecting, always receiving, instead of doing both, instead of looking at a situation and saying, okay, this is a time where I need to chill and stop talking and listen, right? Be dictated. Or saying, this is not a time where I need to listen. I've heard enough and it's time to make a decision of my own volition, give my own 2 cents without having to ask for, what's the word? Without having to ask for permission, right? A lot of times we feel that we have to ask permission for shit. Do you think I should buy this? Do you think I should invest in that? Do you think I should start this business? Do you think, is this the good move or is this a bad move? You know, what do you think? Tell me. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? This is like wanting to receive, wanting to have something impressed upon you so that you could have, you know, whether it's because you're insecure or whether because you just straight up don't fucking know any better, or whatever the reason may be. But again, there's got to be a balance. And this, some people know this very well, like the Manson fellow, right? He took it to the next level. He would give his followers LSD, not take LSD himself, of course. And as we know, the psychedelic state is unmatched in its openness by few else in the world, which is really dangerous. And the younger generation doesn't know how dangerous it is to be so willing to take psychedelics in just any old environment, like all the various music festivals, for example, because you become very, very open, dangerously open if you're around the wrong people. Case in point, Manson was dosing his followers out with LSD and impressing upon their minds and their wills his own will. And if you guys have seen interviews with this guy when he's talking to detectives or when he's giving interviews when he's already in jail, the guy is fucking brilliant. He's a genius. He is the ultimate manipulator. His will is godlike, at least to the average person. And this is why it's important to study both sides of the spectrum. Why it's important to study what does it mean to be in your masculine, to be in your feminine. What does it look like in the outside world? What does it look like? How does it show up for you? Again, there's this another piece of spirituality that says there's no such thing as good or bad, and Hermetics touches on that too. But what people do is they twist that around. They think, oh, there's no such thing as good or bad. Because we're in an illusion, we're in the mind of the all, we're in a dream, like we're in the Matrix, nothing matters, and that's fucking could not be further from the truth. Everything matters. Yes, we are in a dream, but it's a very fucking persistent one that goes by laws and principles that we must follow, otherwise we will be dictated instead of dictating. We will be unbalanced, whether it's overly masculine or whether it's overly feminine. There is such thing as good or bad. And how you tell that is by really observing each and every situation that you're in. What does this situation call for? What the emotions that I'm experiencing right now, because your emotions are powerful, right? They're very useful and they're very powerful, but they tend to dominate your body. So if you're existing in an emotion that's, say, really sad, it's going to affect how you speak. It's going to affect what you say. Just like when you're really excited and you're really happy, what you say, what you think, you're more inspired, you're more confident when you're excited. All these emotions that we have influence our actions. But if we don't check our emotions, if we don't um, realize, right, really realize our emotions in the sense of, oh, I'm really fucking sad right now. Or I'm really stressed. Or I'm actually a lot angrier than I realized. And that's why I'm kind of closed in and not talking very much. It's because I'm fucking hungry right now and I'm getting angry. You know what I mean? A lot of times people don't realize what's going on in their minds. They're just kind of at will of their emotions. The tide goes out when the tide comes in. And instead of, I think we'll learn in the next paragraph. So we have the tides that come in and out, right? And most people are just carried by the tides. The tide comes in and they get carried in, and then the tide goes out and they get carried out. And, they're just kind of at the mercy of the gods, in other words, instead of polarizing themselves. And this is what the Hermeticists teach, to use your will to polarize yourself at one point, um, so that you're not thrashed around by the tides, by the swing of your emotions. Or to actively let yourself be devoured by your emotions. Because again, emotions are super powerful and they're super useful. And we would be numb and useless without emotions. Emotions are debatably the most powerful thing you guys have at your disposal. And I would say they are the most powerful things you have at your disposal, because they can influence other people, because they can influence yourself. But again, if we're not consciously using our active will to check those emotions, we're fucking useless. So, carrying on. Um, a little reflect. Wait, transmutation. Did I pass something up by knowledge, preservation, practice, science being transmutation branches. Okay, a little reflection on what we have said will show the student that the principle of vibration underlies the wonderful phenomena of the power manifested by the masters and adepts, who are able to apparently set aside the laws of nature, but who in reality are simply using one law against another, one principle against others, and who accomplish their results by changing the vibrations of material objects or forms of energy, and thus perform what are commonly called miracles. I'll read that again. So it's a long ass sentence. A little reflection on what we have said will show the student that the principle of vibration underlies the wonderful phenomena of the power manifested by the masters and adepts, who are able to apparently set aside the laws of nature, but who in reality are simply using one law against another, one principle against others, and who accomplish their results by changing the vibrations of material objects or forms of energy, and thus perform what are commonly called miracles. As one of the old Hermetic writers has truly said, he who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. End scene. Just as Harry Potter hits the Apregio theme. Nice. Could not have timed that any better. Jennifer Pete, I'm not sure we're on the same page. What about everyday folk thinking they're kings, queens, and princes and princes? Princes and princesses? Um, I don't think that God will accept them as what they think they are. Dark Moon, are you really reading a Manson book tonight? That's fitting because I pulled 3 cards. One of them, they're all reversed. First was a Tower, then it was a Knight of Wands, and then it was the Death card. So, wouldn't surprise me that we're talking about Manson and that you happen to be reading one of his books tonight. Jennifer Pete, to answer your question, I don't think God accepts, and I don't think God unaccepts. I think God is not what you think he is. Not God is not this person that's judging our every move and like getting upset or getting jealous or getting angry or getting happy or sad. I think this ominous being is so fucking far from our minds and our realities that it's not even worth considering what he or she actually is. And as far as people calling themselves queens and kings and princes and princesses, by all means. I mean, of course, they're not. Technically, none of them are kings and queens because kings and queens don't exist anymore because we don't live in a feudal society. We live in a democratic society where kings and queens don't exist. So, yeah, I guess people can call themselves whatever they want. But yeah, Salavia Studio. I prefer to be in nature too when it comes to the things of the mind stimulation nature. Although I don't mind being at music festivals while dosing, it's just you got to be smart. Like you can't. You gotta have a strong mind and a strong will to be around people when you're dosed out. As anyone who's taken psychedelics already knows. But we don't do that here. When I say psychedelics, I'm referring to oregano, like the herb. Don't do drugs, kids. And I'm wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt. Oh shit, too sweet. You're actually okay. Well, then some of you, my bad, I take that back, are princesses because your fathers happen to be chieftains and shit. So those people, yes, are princesses. But for the rest of us, once. You guys, answer me this: why does no one in the tarot world read cards reversed, but every deck I've ever seen, and whenever I research tarot traditionally or any other form of what's the word I'm looking for? Divination. There's always a reversed meaning, and like tea leaves, fucking rune stones, tarot. I'm sure if you threw bones in a bowl, that there would be reverse meanings, but no one uses them, and they all hate on them. I don't understand that. I would like to use reversed cards because if there's a right side up, then there has to be the opposite side, right? Um, I feel like that's pretty helpful to have cards come up reversed because it's a slightly more accurate, or I should say, a slightly more detailed version of the energies that are coming through. Because if you're trying to figure something out and you're using cards, it would make more sense to get as much detail as possible. And if they come up reversed, that should say something. I don't know. I don't understand. No, it wasn't for. I was listening to a voice note. And I put my thing on mute so that you guys wouldn't hear it because I don't want you guys dropping eaves on my shit. Because y'all's is nosy sometimes. I play a voicemail and you guys are like, oh, voicemail. I wonder who it's from. What does it say? I'm going to turn the volume up. No, I don't think it's harder, or maybe that's the reason why they don't use them. But it just seems like people don't don't use them, and I don't know why. But they're stern. There's like the third person that's been really stern in there, like like reversal cards. They're useless. They don't mean anything. But like very like definitive about it, you know. Turn into the opposite meaning when reversed. Yeah, I don't know. I was just curious. If what you guys did. It seems like as at least as far as this room goes, that there's a split. Wow, that there seems to be a pretty decent split between those of you that use reverse and those of you that don't. Um, I just do it because I usually like to follow the rules. Well, on one hand, I love to break rules. Usually, when I'm starting out with shit, I like to follow the rules. And I'm like, the fucking rules say reverse meaning means this, different from the right side up. Why the fuck wouldn't I use it? People have been using tarot for hundreds, if not thousands of years, doing the same shit. Why is all of a sudden people not down to use the reverse meanings and they're haters all of a sudden? Riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. Anywho, it's 8:27. On that note, if you guys have anything else you would like to add, please hit the like button on this video. If there's anyone new in the group, say hello. Do you have any new people in the room right now? Any new heads? Is there any new heads? Or you guys all old cats? Everybody wants to be a cat. Because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. Let me elucidate here. Everybody wants to be a cat. Cause the cat's the only cat knows where it's at. Everybody's getting up on that feline beat. Cause everything else is obsolete. Square with the horn makes you wish you weren't born every time he plays. I'm going to learn how to play the clarinet, you guys, real fucking soon. I'm talking like the next couple months. I'm just about to pick up a clarinet, Boom. A couple months later, I might be slaying that. Who knows where it's at? Yeah, Too Sweet. Thanks for stopping by. Be safe out there in Puerto Rico. I'm not. Oh, and Quinette Davis. Well, thanks for watching, you little voyeur, you little rebel. All right, you guys, we're having a we're having a YouTube meeting, a squad meeting. We're all gonna meet up in person in Paris at a jazz bar, at a Parisian underground jazz bar, and we're gonna get down to music like this. You guys down? Yeah, the clarinet was actually my first instrument. I was in 4th grade, but I only signed up to learn it because I wanted to get out of class, and I didn't learn shit. I didn't even go to my like the play, whatever we had at the end of the year. I didn't even tell my parents that we were having one because I didn't learn shit. Yeah, I didn't learn anything. And then my dad sold my clarinet maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. She talks about getting turned on. Watch. If you want to turn me on, play your horn. Don't play a tune. Damn, what up, Mom? Of course, it's a little cat singing it, right? Subliminals. Modulate. And pretty soon. And the trumpet. I would like to learn how to play the clarinet and the trumpet. Congregating on the fence. Thanks, Quinette Davis. You have yourself a wonderful night. The rest of y'all have a wonderful night. Thanks, you guys, for being here. Thanks for enjoying another episode of Readings by Candlelight. These are so much fun. Glad to have you guys here. Yeah, have a good night. Get some rest. Happy dreaming. For those of y'all that have the dream tonic, bottoms up. We're blasting off tonight. You guys got to meet me at a Parisian bar. Oh, woo. And on that note, holy hopscotch, Batman. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast comes on next. It's too funny. Good night, you guys. Love y'all. It's a quiet village. Every day, like the one before. Little town full of little people waking up to memory lane. There goes the baker with his tray like this live just took a turn, didn't it? To this poor provincial town. Good morning, pal. Good morning, monsieur. Where are you off to? The bookshop. I just finished the most wonderful story. All right. Peace out, you guys. Marie!